हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So welcome back to the last day of this course, Demystifying Raganuga Bhakti. So we have been discussing for the last 9 days, we have been discussing primarily from the book Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the section on Raganuga Bhakti. And apart from that, we have also been discussing from books like Ragavartma Chandrika by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, and other such books. So I will do a very quick recap of what we saw last time, yesterday, and then there is one small topic that is left, but very important topic. We will discuss that, and then some questions have come, so we will see some question and answers, and then end today's session or the course itself. So the first theme that we discussed yesterday was how does one progress from the stage of practice to the stage of perfection in Raganuga Bhakti. We saw this in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So in Raganuga Bhakti, how does this practice? We discussed these 5 stages. It starts with hearing, Shravana Dasha, where when one reaches the stage of Nishta and when Anartha Nivritti is almost completely accomplished, he starts hearing the specific pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan. In that way, he develops that greed. Then when that greed develops, then he accepts the process, which is called as Varana Dasha. And then the third, Smarana Dasha, we discussed, where he actively meditates on the practice form that he has received from his spiritual master, or that which has been revealed through meditation. And within Smarana, we saw 5 different stages. Smarana Dasha, within Smarana Dasha, there is Smarana, Dhyana, Smarana, Dharana, Dhyana, Anusmriti, and Samadhi. And then we discussed about Apana Dasha. When he reaches the stage of Bhava, he actually realizes his real identity in the spiritual world. And then finally Sampatti Dasha, where he goes back to the spiritual world and rejoins and joins the pastimes of Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. So these are the stages from practice to perfection of a Raganuga Sadhaka. We discussed this in detail yesterday. I am just briefly recapping it today. Then we saw that how Vaidhi Sadhana transforms into Raganuga Sadhana. In this we saw there are 3 ways in which it transforms. First, if one would have practiced Vaidhi Sadhana in a past life, and in this life he takes over from where he left off. If he had almost reached the stage of Nishta through practice of Vaidhi Sadhana in the previous life, in this life he may very quickly develop that greed for following in the footsteps of the Vrajavasis, and he may start practicing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Or he might have practiced Raganuga Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti in this life, which reaches the stage of Nishta, and then at the stage of either Nishta or Ruchi or Asakti, he develops that greed, and then he starts practicing Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti in this life. Or the third possibility is, even though he may reach till Asakti while practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, he may not necessarily develop that greed, but after reaching the Bhava, his flavor may change from Vaidhi to Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. So this is possible. All these 3 possibilities we discussed yesterday, I don't want to get into the details of that. And then we discussed finally the role of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the development of Raganuga Bhakti. We saw that how it is very pivotal. He came when Krishna descended as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he develop that desire to experience that love that is experienced by the Vrajavasis towards Krishna. He wanted to experience that love. And also he wanted to spread the message of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Ragamarga Bhakti Loke Karite Pracharan. So he is that personality who came to spread that message. So it is through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we can experience our relationship with Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. So he is non-different from Radha and Krishna. Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. It is Krishna himself descended in the mood of Radharani and with the complexion of Radharani. So therefore, without worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we cannot achieve love towards Radha and Krishna. And then we discussed how is it that simply by serving Lord Chaitanya one becomes eligible for Raganuga Bhakti. So this is what we discussed, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. And as Narottam Das Thakur in his song he says, Gaura Prema Rasarnave Setaranga Eba Dube Se Radha Madhava Antaranga. So one who actually absorbs himself in hearing and meditating on the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually becomes qualified to become an very intimate associate of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Griheva vanete take ha bauranga bole dake narottama mage tara sanga. So whether one may be a grihastha or a brahmachari or a vanaprastha or a sannyasi, if that person is loudly chanting the holy names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he says, actually Narottam Das Thakur desires the association of that person. So therefore, it is through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we can reach the lotus feet of Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. But one may say that worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is only in Dasyaras. We worship him only as the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is not in Sakyaras. We don't think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our friend or we are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parent. Those rasas are not there. There is only Dasyaras. How is it that by worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Dasyaras, we may achieve either Vatsalyaras or Sakyaras or Madhuryaras towards Krishna in Vrindavan? How is it possible? So again, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, is Krishna himself who has come in the mode of Radharani, when he becomes pleased by our devotion and our servitude, then he infuses that mood of spontaneous devotion in our heart. He infuses it. He infuses that mode. Therefore, we saw that this is what is emphasized by all the acharyas, including Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and we saw some quotations from Navadvip Dham Mahatmya that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had mentioned. So then, the next theme that we discussed was how Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains the role of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the development of Raganuga Bhakti. From a series of verses we discussed, where he mentioned that how just by drowning ourselves in the nectar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, we become qualified to participate in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So there is one last theme, but very important theme that is left. We will discuss that before we move on to question and answers. The question is Vraja Bhakti for everyone? So is everyone qualified for Vraja Bhakti? Can we preach about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message to everyone? What if that person had an eternal form in Vaikuntha? Then should I preach to him? Or how will I know whether he has an eternal form in Vaikuntha or he has an eternal form in Goloka Vrindavan? If someone has an eternal form in Vaikuntha, will he get attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement or not? Or is it that whoever is getting attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, he has a form in Goloka Vrindavan only. Is it like that? This is a very interesting question. Many people discussing this topic, they get this question. So we will discuss on this theme. Is Vraja Bhakti for everyone? What about someone whose eternal relationship is with one of Krishna's expansions? What if it was someone like Prahlad Maharaj attracted to Narasimhadev? His original form is in Narasimha Vaikunta. Or what if one has an eternal form like Jaya and Vijaya in Lord Narayan's Vaikunta, Mahavaikunta? So now, does practice of Krishna consciousness revive that original relationship in Vaikunta? So we may be in ISKCON worshipping Radha and Krishna, worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by such a practice, if our original form is in Vaikunta, will we awaken that form and we will go back to Vaikunta or what? The answer is no. So, the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see the caveat here. This is a very important point. They must be followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they must have faith that the highest form of bhakti is Vraja Bhakti. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradaro Nappara. One must have firm faith that the topmost bhakti is Vraja Bhakti, and within Vraja the love of gopis towards Krishna is the topmost. One must have that faith. Even though such people, while in the material world, they may have developed even though originally they may have eternal forms in Vaikunta, they may be servants of Lord Narayan, but still by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he makes them Rajavasis. Then one may say, oh, but what about that eternal form in Vaikunta? If I have an eternal form in Vaikunta, and you mean to say that by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, that person will become a Vrajavasi when he achieves perfection, then how can you say that form is eternal? The form in Vaikunta, will it cease to exist? He says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this while speaking to an assembly of devotees including Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur. So, assembly of devotees Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is addressing. This is from the book Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak. And in that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is addressing a group of devotees, and this includes Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur. Carefully hear what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to say. He says, so be it. I will go to Vrindavan and there I will accept you as my associates, and with my sweet pastimes I will fill your hearts with bliss. To you who have faith in Vrindavan, I will give splendid spiritual forms like my own. That is what I will do for you. So he says that I will give you a form like what I have. You will not get 400 forms, you will get 200 forms like me. And you can join me in Vrindavan. You can participate in my pastimes in Vrindavan. Those of you whose hearts are bound to me in this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if your rasas are friendship or servitude, Sakya or Dasya ras, to Sri Radha Madhav or Sri Dwarakadish, or if your rasas are friendship or servitude to any of my other incarnations, I will make you into my eternally liberated associates in Goloka Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak 10.280 and 281. In these two verses, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, even though you may have a form in Vaikunta, but I will give you a form in Goloka Vrindavan. So therefore, this is a very powerful proof from this book, which indicates that it doesn't matter, even though we may have an eternal form in Vaikuntha, if one comes in touch with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and gets influenced by that, and he starts firmly believing that the highest form of bhakti is the bhakti of Vrajavasis towards Krishna, and if he has full trust in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, your place in Goloka Vrindavan is booked. You can join me there. So, the conclusion drawn from this and other such statements by Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas is that Krishna consciousness movement provides for its followers a place in Goloka Vrindavan. This is true. But the only requirement is your bhakti should be shaped purely by the teachings of our Acharyas. We should not be searching elsewhere. And this includes even other bona fide sampradayas. Because the mood is different. Our shiksha or our learning should nourish the mood that we are trying to cultivate. If we are trying to cultivate a mood just like the Vrajavasis have towards Krishna, then our practice should be nourished by the teachings of Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas only. That does not mean other sampradaya writings are non-bona fide. The other sampradaya writings nourish their mood. Our Acharyas' writings nourish our mood. While we take inspiration from the followers of other sampradayas, but we should very much chastely follow the teachings of our own Acharyas. So therefore, as we discussed earlier before once, that there is no scope for our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti to transform into Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti if our practice lacks chastity to our parampara. If we are not chaste enough, then we may go to the spiritual world, but we may not acquire that same mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. So this is something that we need to very carefully remember. Whatever their constitutional position, devotees are promoted to the topmost abode to relish the topmost mellow of love. This is the essence of Lord Chaitanya's mission, to give love specifically for Krishna. He has not come to nourish our love towards Narasimhadev. He has not come to nourish our love towards Lord Narayan. He has not come to nourish our love towards even Krishna in Dwaraka. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has specifically come to nourish our love towards Krishna in Vrindavan. That's why Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha. Of course, if devotees have no knowledge of Vraja Bhakti, and if their firm devotion is reposed towards the form of the Lord in Vaikuntha, then their destination will be according to their own desire. They may be chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but they may not be hearing anything from Srimad Bhagavatam, or at least the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. They may firmly hear from other literatures also, which may nourish their faith in the form of the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. Then Krishna will not, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not force them against their desire. So that is there. So even though that person may be chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but if he is cultivating an aspiration to go to Vaikuntha consciously and strongly, and while taking inspiration from literatures from other bona fide sampradayas, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not forcefully try to change that person. He can go to Vaikuntha. Lord Chaitanya implies that this is the implies this in the above quote, which states that he awards devotees Vraja Bhakti on the condition that they have faith in Vrindavan. Faith that Vraja Bhakti is the topmost. If despite ISKCON's directing its members to Krishna and Vrindavan, some devotees remain firmly attached to another destination, then surely Lord Chaitanya will fulfill that desire in this regard. However, this would be an exception rather than the rule. This is just an exception. So one should not say, oh, you said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give Vraja Bhakti. Here I see someone in your movement actually achieving bhakti towards the Lord of Vaikuntha. This is an exception. If that person is very firmly attached to worshipping Lakshmi and Narayan. But one can say this leads to a very critical question, confusing question. How can one's eternal identity change? If I have an eternal form in Vaikuntha, how can it change? Okay. So, one thing we should understand that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is there, dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Even the most difficult thing becomes possible by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So, even though one may have an eternal form there, it may change also. That is one consideration. But in books like Brihad Bhagavatamrit, it is mentioned, the Lord may promote devotees to exclusive service in Vraja or to serve simultaneously in multiple destinations, including Vraja. So, which means his form in Vaikuntha will remain, and another expansion of the same personality may have a form in Vrindavan also. In this way, they attain other identities while retaining their original ones. So, even though that person may have an original form in Vaikuntha, that will be retained, and he may additionally get a form in Vrindavan also, because he has developed taste for this. So why would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deny him that? This is from a quotation from Brihad Bhagavatamrit. The reference is given. So an example is given. For example, we have in Vaikuntha, we have Lord Narayan's carrier, which is Garuda. So he has one form in Vaikuntha, and there is this Garuda in Chaitanya Charitamrit comes as Garuda Pandit, and same Garuda in Vrindavan Leela manifests as Sridama, the brother of Radharani. So you see, all three forms are eternal forms. It's not like morning 6 hours he acts as the carrier of Lord Narayan. Then after that 6 hours he goes to play with Krishna, and after that he comes to Shvetadvip in the spiritual world where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performs his eternal pastimes. He comes there and performs the pastimes of Garuda Pandit. It's not like that. All three forms are eternal. In the form of Garuda, he is eternally there in Vaikuntha. In the form of Garuda Pandit, he is eternally there in Shvetadvip. In the form of Sridama, he is eternally there in Goloka Vrindavan. So therefore, it is possible. Why not? So in the spiritual world, everything is possible. And we have, and this is also mentioned in Gaur Ganodesha Deepika. And similarly, we have so many examples. Mother Ganga is there. And in Goloka, she is a gopi called as Vara Prema Manjari. Even though in the form of Ganga, she is eternally there. Personified Ganga. In the form of a river also, she is eternally there. And in Goloka Vrindavan, she expands also as Vara Prema Manjari. So therefore, this is possible. And of course, both Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they very clearly mention that those who are those who go to Goloka Vrindavan, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have simultaneously two forms, one in Goloka Vrindavan and another in Shvetadvip. One assisting Radha and Krishna in their pastimes, and another assisting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes. And also, there is another way of also understanding this. Within Vrindavan only one can have multiple identities. Like in the case of Balramji, he is Lord Balram, and also he expands as Ananga Manjari to give pleasure to Krishna and Madhurya Ras. As Balramji, he has both Vatsalya Ras and Sakhya Ras with Krishna, like that. And also in through expanding through other such paraphernalia, he also serves Krishna in Shantaras. So therefore, it is possible, like Jaya and Vijaya are there in Vaikunta, and in their expanded forms, they are also there as Jagai and Madai in Shvetadvip. Both are eternal forms. So therefore, it is possible Krishna can always facilitate it, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu definitely does facilitate. And so therefore, we should not think, how will my eternal form change? It won't change. And if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants, it can change also. Nothing is impossible. But one can retain that form, and one can simultaneously get this form here also. This might be very inconceivable because we don't have an experience of it in this material world, but in the spiritual world everything is possible. The essence of the above is that Lord Chaitanya invites everyone to enter into the most treasured, most elevated and most perfect relationship with Krishna. So that is the essence of this course, that we need to understand, appreciate and gratefully meditate upon why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has descended to this material world, to give something unimaginably valuable to all of us. So we don't have to think, what if should I take this movement seriously? I know I am getting little bit attracted towards Krishna, but what if my eternal form is in Vaikunta? So we need not worry about that. We will not be deprived. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give us an opportunity to simultaneously engage in both these places or three places. So, in the spiritual world, everything is possible. Anandambudhi Vardhanam. The bliss keeps on increasing and it multiplies millionfold. So therefore, we have nothing to lose and we have everything to gain. All we need to remember is, while we are qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti, we have to do it with our heart and soul. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Pittopatapta Rasanasya Narochikanu Kintuadarad Anudinam Kalusaiva Jushta Swadvi Kramat Bhavati Tadgata Moolahantri. So, that even though in our current conditioned state, neither chanting nor hearing nor reading Srila Prabhupada's books, anything may taste sweet, it may taste bitter. But we should understand, throughout our life, we have tolerated so many bitter circumstances so that in future we can taste something very sweet. No child wants to go to school, but as a child we have tolerated years and years of studies which we never liked, so that in future we could get a good job, we could get better place, we could earn some money. Even as a child we always understood this. In order to, at least in order to please our parents, in order to not displease our parents, we used to go to school. If as a child we could sacrifice what we like to do in order to please our parents or in order for getting some better benefits, many years down the line, Why can't we do it for our own spiritual emancipation? Why can't we do it for pleasing Krishna? So we should not be waiting for the taste to descend so that we can improve our chanting, we can improve our hearing, we can improve our practice of devotional service. That is not the right understanding. Ruchi comes only after Nishta. So, and Nishta comes only after Anartha Nivritti. So we have to constantly endeavor to practice devotional service with regularity, regulation and respect. Day in and day out, day in and day out. While strongly considering that in future what I will get is invaluable, what I am sacrificing now is insignificant compared to what I will be gaining in future. And one day we will definitely become qualified. So the promise is a very firm promise. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not deceive any of his followers. So he has come to give something unimaginably valuable. So all that we need to do is, in whatever position we are situated, try to perfect that position. Practice devotional service under proper guidance so that one day we will become qualified. So thank you very much for your very patient listening, and I know this was not a very easy course to follow. I am sure you must have found the course on Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti much more relatable, relishable and relevant. This course might have been going above the head of most devotees. So I apologize for that, but nevertheless this is something we need to know, and it was a great pleasure and honor getting this opportunity to share this subject matter with all of you. So if there was, I have my own idiosyncrasies and conditionings, like some people complain that I keep repeating things too many times. That is my conditioning. I keep recapping for too long. Again, that is my conditioning. So I am also learning how to present in online courses. So please forgive my shortcomings, and I will try to improve in my future courses. So thank you very much for your patient listening, and we will spend some time discussing a few questions that we received through the online portal and YouTube comment box. So the first question is one who is following Raganuga Bhakti more important and more valuable than one who is following Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, because Raganuga Bhakti is taken up at an advanced stage? This is just a question of mood, I would say. You cannot say, you can have a Raganuga Sadhaka who is little less advanced than a Vaidhi Sadhaka. You may have a Vaidhi Sadhaka who is at the stage of Asakti, and you may have a Raganuga Sadhaka who is at the stage of Nishta. So from one point of view, the Vaidhi Sadhaka is more qualified. But that Vaidhi Sadhana will eventually lead to a position in Vaikunta or in Dwaraka, like that. And for those people who consider Goloka Vrindavan as the topmost, definitely you can say Vaidhi Sadhana is inferior in one sense. It all depends on one's particular taste. So some like things hot, some like things cold. So when there is some cold drink, so the person who likes it cold, he enjoys. And if something, a hot warm drink comes, the person who likes it warm, he enjoys. So therefore you cannot really compare two persons in that way. But definitely, as mentioned in this question, it is true that one cannot start Raganuga Bhakti before one reaches the stage of Nishtha. But having said that, you may have a Vaidhi Sadhaka who is little more qualified than the Raganuga Sadhaka also. So that way you cannot directly compare, you cannot say that a Raganuga Sadhaka is always more qualified than the Vaidhi Sadhaka. That is not the understanding. But considering the destination for those who appreciate a relationship with Krishna in sweetness, for them, they consider Raganuga Bhakti to be superior to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Like that. Second question. Is it possible for a devotee who has reached the stage of Nishtha to follow both the Vaidhi and Raganuga paths? Can he have inclination towards both the paths? It's possible. This question was asked in one of the earlier discussions, but later we have covered it already. We discussed that three ways in which one develops Raganuga sadhana. One is when one practices Vaidhi sadhana in this life, which eventually at a later stage matures into Raganuga sadhana. But the way in which it matures is that gradually one transforms from 100% Vaidhi to 100% Raganuga. Is not a, at once it does not transform like that. It slowly becomes, as we discussed before, 100-0, 90-10, 80-20, 70-30 like that. Gradually one starts developing more and more Raganuga impetus, and the Vaidhi impetus starts going down and down and down and down like that. So most of us, even if we may progress towards the practice of Raganuga sadhana bhakti, at any stage of our practice or at most stages of our practice, mostly we will have both stimulus coming from both our Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga sadhana, both from the books and from the greed, both from Shastriya Shraddha and Lobhamayi Shraddha. It will come from both. Third question. If you are worshipping in the bhava of Lakshmi Narayan and aspiring for Radha Krishna Bhakti, it will become more confusing. Okay, in the bhava of Lakshmi Narayan means we don't imagine that this Radha Krishna deity is actually a deity of Lakshmi and Narayan. What it means is we worship them with lot of awe and reverence, not trying to be prematurely intimate without the purification of heart. So it is true that even one may, a person may be a very good friend, but still if you are newly meeting that personality, it takes some time to get to know that person, and it takes some time for him to get to know you, and over a period of time organically a very intimate relationship develops. So one cannot force feed. So therefore it's not that we imagine the forms of the deities to be Lakshmi and Narayan while they are Radha and Krishna. We know they are Radha and Krishna, we worship them as Radha and Krishna, but what it means to worship in the Vaikuntha Bhav is we don't artificially and prematurely try to become overly intimate with the deities. We deal with them in a very respectful way. That is the meaning of that. Fourth question. Can you guide how to get PPTs of all the earlier series from your sites? Somehow there is some technical glitch there, some miscommunication. So along with this particular series, I will definitely try to ensure in the next few days that in the earlier courses also, Rediscovering Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Self-Evaluation Tools on the Path of Bhakti, and this course, Demystifying Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. For all these three courses, in the very few days, I will ensure that the PPT or at least the PDF is uploaded in the site. There is some technical glitch, you know, I'm not able to figure that out. I will communicate with the website team and I will ensure that the PowerPoints, or if not, at least the PDFs are uploaded. So I really apologize for the delay. It must have been done a long time back. They tried something, but there was some issues. I don't exactly recollect. Also would like to get audio versions of all the series for easy and convenient hearing, please. I will try. Maybe we could extract the audio from this and we will upload it in ISKCON Desire Tree in the future days to come. So if you go to ISKCON Desire Tree, there is audio, and within audio there is Prabhuji's, and within Prabhuji's if you go to my name, you know, you will be able to find out the audio versions of this, but not immediately, but maybe one of the coming days, because it's lockdown time, it becomes little difficult, but we will very soon try to do this also. Fifth question: if a devotee has a sincere and intense desire to serve Lord Balram and Vrinda Devi in Sri Goloka Vrindavan Dham, does it mean that the devotee was already serving Lord Balram and Vrinda Devi there? Why do we feel such desire? Not necessarily. It is possible that in this life, or maybe in our previous life, we might have heard a lot about Lord Balram and Vrinda Devi from devotees who have great affection for such personalities, and naturally and organically we might have developed attraction for them. So it is not necessary that we might have already been serving them in Vrindavan. It is possible also, but generally it is not like that. It is not necessarily like that. But if we are developing that kind of a mood right now, there is a good chance that once we go back, we will get an opportunity to serve those very same personalities. So we need not try to find out, oh, would it have been my service in the spiritual world before I came here? We don't know, and there is no way we can find that out. But one thing is, once we go back, that could become our service if we keep nourishing this mood. That is possible. Sixth question: in the analysis of the Gaudiya Vaishnava logo, you mentioned about the worship of Sri Radha and Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. This means in awe and reverence? Yes, we addressed this question before only. To worship Radha and Krishna in the mode of Lakshmi Narayan does not necessarily mean worshipping Lakshmi and Narayan, but it means worshipping Radha and Krishna with lot of awe and reverence. Seventh question: Bhava Bhakti is considered as the highest state after Raganuga Bhakti. So I didn't understand when the third type of how one progresses from Vaidhi Bhakti to Raganuga Bhakti, it was mentioned that the third type was when one reaches the stage of Bhava. I did mention that it may transform into Raganuga Bhakti, but what I actually meant was not Raganuga but Ragatmika Bhakti. Because Raganuga is a sadhana bhakti and Bhava Bhakti is Sadhya Bhakti. Sadhya Bhakti means perfected bhakti. So a Bhava Bhakta is no longer a practitioner, whereas a Raganuga Bhakta is a practitioner. So what I really meant was, one might have practiced Vaidhi sadhana till Asakti, but at the stage of Bhava, that Vaikuntha mood may transform into the mood in Goloka Vrindavan. That is possible. So I didn't really mean that to be, he will become from the Bhava Bhakta, he will become a Raganuga Sadhaka, not in that sense. Like that. Eighth question: Princess Ratnamala in her previous birth, when she saw Vamanadev, she instantly lost her heart to the little boy and wanted to embrace him as her son. Vamana looked so adorable that she felt like showering him with motherly love. Therefore, she wanted to breastfeed him. So my question is then, how she got the birth as Putana in Krishna Leela when she aspired Vaman Bhagavan as her son? As you said, the Supreme Lord gives them pleasure in the same Rupa as they aspired like the Dandakaranya rishis. So this is a very valid question. I don't know the details. I will have to, I checked, I couldn't find out proper references, but it is mentioned in the episode of Vamanadev that the sister of Bali Maharaj, Ratnamala, she got so charmed by seeing Vamanadev that she spontaneously developed some motherly affection. There needs to be little more details that need to be figured out, because very soon when Bali Maharaj was punished by Vamanadev, she developed some unfavorable attitude towards him also. So that strictly cannot be considered as bhakti, and so there are some complete details are not there. So despite developing such unfavorable inimical attitude towards Vamanadev subsequently, Vamanadev was so magnanimous that he allowed her to appear as Putana and actually breastfeed him. That is how we should see. Otherwise, the neither was, in my understanding, neither was Ratnamala's affection towards Vamanadev considered to be Uttama Bhakti, because very soon it turned quite inimical also. So therefore, we need to, this cannot be analyzed in the way in which we are trying to analyze proper Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnana Shilanam Bhakti performed by the pure devotees. So that's my understanding of this episode. Last question. Is worship of Jagannath favorable to Raganuga? It is absolutely favorable, because the form of Jagannath is the form of Krishna in complete ecstasy, hearing his own pastimes of Vrindavan. So this is Mahabhava Swaroop. So actually worship of Jagannath is extremely favorable for cultivating Raganuga Bhakti. So that's it, we have come to the end of the course. So for all the extra time that I took throughout the course, I finally get an opportunity to please you by completing today's session very well before time. So hopefully, as they say, Madhurena Samapayet, at least towards the end, the last thing that you should eat is sweet, so that it remains lingering in your mouth for a long time. So what can be more sweeter than completing a class well before time? Actually, so thank you very much again. It was a fairly long course on a subject matter which is little bit not so commonly spoken and heard, but nevertheless very much from the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. So therefore thank you very much for your patient attendance. My heartfelt gratitude to all of you. So hoping that you will join me in the next course, which will be a sequel to this course, which is Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So we discussed Vaidhisadhana Bhakti, we discussed Raganuga Bhakti. Now as a sequel we need to discuss Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, which is covered in chapter number 17, 18 and 19 of Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada, which is the third and fourth waves in the eastern section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So therefore, that will end our Bhakti Shastri series. Of course, we went little bit more into detail than what is covered during Bhakti Shastri courses, but nevertheless the portion is Bhakti Shastri portion only. So hoping that you will join in the next course also. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.